Next, we are going to look at the conditional statement. Conditional statement are statements where we can have options based on some condition. Normally, in any programming language, we use if then or if else if and finally else to do the conditional statement. In using the conditional statement, normally we are going to use comparison operators such as equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater or equal than, and finally less than or equal to. So these are the common operators used to do the conditional statement regardless what type of programming language that you are going to use. Let's go back to Sublime Text so that we can test our conditional statement. First of all, I'm going to insert a PHP over here, and based on this PHP I can get the structure of my conditional statement. So for conditional statement in PHP, you have to start with if. Just type if and tab, and then if you want to have another else if, just else if and tab, and if you want to have another one, else if and tab, and let's say 1 2 3, and then lastly you want to have a conditional statement of else, and that's it. So this is the structure of basic conditional statement in PHP. If you want to do the conditional statement, you have to follow this structure. So I have already prepared code for you. So my code is something like this. I have a condition where the condition is based on the vehicle, and the vehicle that I set is a bicycle. If it's bicycle, it's going to be displayed something like this. History, a bicycle has 2 tires. As if it's bicycle is a car, it have 4 tires. And lastly, if the vehicle is a lorry, then it have more than 4 tires. So I just Control S to save the file. Then I'm going to open my browser. So this condition statement, so I refresh, I'm going to get based on the conditional statement, and the vehicle is a bicycle, so a bicycle have 2 tires. Apart from using the equal symbol for conditional statement, you can also use other comparison operators such as greater than or greater than equal to in your conditional statement. I'm going to have something like this. This is based on the mark. I set the mark to become 50. I have a conditional statement like this. If the mark is more than or equal than 50, well done, you pass the exam. Else if the mark is less than 50, then you are going to fail the exam. Else you don't put any input for the mark. Condition is the mark should 50, no, should not be 50. Let's say we make it 60. I just Control S to save this file first. So I return back to my browser. So over here I just put conditional 1 and then just press enter. If you look at this browser, so your mark is 60, well done, you pass the exam. If you have more than one condition to compare, then we can use the logical operator such as AND, or you can use the word A and D and, or, and also executive OR to do the comparison. Sometimes if you want to shortcut, you can use the symbol or you can type, no problem. PHP can detect both type of logical operator and it should work well in your programming. And this is the example of the logical operator that based on this comparison, and the result is something like this. If A and A, then if both are true, then it's going to be true. If one is not true, then both will become false. Meanwhile, if you use or is required to have only one true. If A is true or B is true, then the statement will be true. Meanwhile, this is for not meaning that it's not A, then it's going to be true. If it's A, then it's going to be false. Let's look on how to use the conditional statement if you have more than one condition, meaning that you have 2 or 3 or more than that. I have created a new file, which is chapter 8 conditional statement 2. Okay, in this file I'm going to insert some PHP like this. So I have a two condition which is represented by these two variable, door and tire. For the door, assign it 4, and for tire I assign 4 also. Next, I'm going to display the door based on number that I've assigned to variable door, and similarly I'm going to display tire based on the number that I have assigned for tire. And if you look at this else if conditional statement, this one, so I'm using the ampersand to do the comparison. If the door is less than 2 and tire is less or equal than 2, then the vehicle might be a bicycle. Meanwhile, if the door is more than 2 and the tire is equal to 4, then the vehicle might be a car. And finally, if the door is more than 2 and the tire is more than 4, then the vehicle might be a lorry. So else you don't enter the vehicle input. Let's say I want to run this one. So what I can do next is that after I type everything, and this is my conditional statement where I compare more than one condition. So I just save it. I open my browser and then I change it to become 2 over here. Okay, so I'm going to enter to refresh. So the door is 4 and tires is 4. The vehicle might be a car. If I change it, let's say I want it to become a bicycle. Okay, the door is 0 because bicycle don't have door. Tire is 2. I save it. I open back my browser. So I refresh. The vehicle might be a bicycle because bicycle don't have door and have 2 tires. The switch and case statement is another type of conditional statement in PHP. Switch case is also popular in other programming languages such as Java, C, and etc. Similar to if, else if, and else, PHP will execute the matching statement or label based on the condition given. The condition will be outlined in the switch while the statement will be written in the case. For every switch and case statement in PHP, you have to have a break statement to terminate the condition. Let's visit Sublime Text for testing our switch and case statement. For this exercise, I've prepared a new file and I have my PHP code ready over here. Then I can type my switch statement over here. So the switch statement, if you type in Sublime Text, you're going to get something like this. So you can copy the case statement if you want to have a more than one case and paste them sequentially, something like this, so that you can have the switch and case statement run in your program. So let me explain a little bit on the basic structure of switch and case. The switch is where you are going to test statement. Then normally the statement will be based on the variable that you are going to set. Meanwhile, the case will execute condition based on the statement that you already set in the switch. And you're going to have a break, and this is compulsory, where break is a command to break the condition or to stop executing the condition once the condition is already being executed. For the switch and case exercise, I prepared some code for you. My code will be something like this. This is a condition by using switch and case to test the URL of a country based on the given URL. So I have a variable called URL and I'm going to assign this variable with some value. So in this case, I assign it with SG. Later, I'm going to display the country over here, okay, based on the URL. And then this is my switch, which is the command to capture my statement. And the case is where I'm going to check based on the URL which country belongs to that particular URL. So after I satisfy with my PHP code over here, I just press Ctrl S, and in browser I'm going to open my PHP 3 conditional statement 3. Okay, this is the file for switch and case programming. So I have refreshed the file. Okay, so the country URL is SG, so the URL is for Singapore. Similarly, if I change the statement to become my for the URL, this one I change to my, so it's supposed to be Malaysia URL. So I save this file first, I go back to my browser, refresh the browser, and since the URL is my, then URL is for Malaysia.